Hello there, and welcome to this week's edition of Crazy Critique. Now, I say this week's, but I have been away for close to 6 weeks now. I'm sure you've noticed. um, but I'm back in the game, and this edition is a science fiction extravaganza special. Can I put any more adjectives in there? No, I could not. It obviously is going to focus upon most prominently Star Trek Beyond, the newest obviously edition in the recent Star Trek reboot franchise, and I will also be taking a look at a classic science fiction film from the 90s in the second part of this review. Now, I will start from saying from the off, I've seen it twice. Now, I first saw Star Trek Beyond as part of a triple bill. And that was following on from Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. Now, whether it's because of tiredness, because this was one of those after midnight ones where it's, as soon as they can show it, they will then show it. So whether it was from tiredness or the fact that I just watched all three in such close proximity to each other, I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, and I did have reservations, and I couldn't quite put my finger on certain things that weren't working for me when I first saw it. However, I've since seen it in a right sense of mind, and although a couple of my initial reservations still do remain, I've come out a much happier and more pleased individual than I thought I would from the second viewing. Now, we have newcomers to the franchise that J.J. Abrams rejuvenated with such tremendous gusto. Is it 7 years ago now? And with a new director in the form of Justin Lin, and new scripters in the form of Doug Young and actor Simon Pegg, obviously who plays Scotty in the film. These significant changes can't be overlooked, and there is most certainly a noticeable different feel and tone for the film. So in many ways, this was always going to be a different beast of a film, wasn't it? And really, that is where the film is either going to win or lose you, isn't it? I myself really did enjoy the previous two J.J. Abrams directed Star Trek films, and I thought as pure grand spectacle cinema, they were superbly entertaining, and it takes something to match that sort of entertainment, in my opinion, and quality involved. So with this particular film, Star Trek Beyond, we have a different style, like I said, but it kind of harks back in a part of a way to the exploration feel of the TV series. Now, I will state that I have not watched any of these Star Trek TV series, and I'm going off what I've heard about them, effectively. So, and although, like I say, it does seem to hark back to that sort of exploration feel of the TV series, the film certainly does not skimp on the action itself. I mean, this is a film from the director who was involved with the Fast and Furious series of films. I mean, what more needs to be said there? With a couple of particular set pieces, with an astonishing first act. Spoiler alert right now, stop watching. First act destruction of the Enterprise, and a final act attack on a Federation space station that are just purely a feast for the eyes. If in part sometimes a little bit busy like a bee, some may say. In joke there. So like I say, our main cast after the destruction of the Enterprise from an unknown enemy initially all end up split up from each other and on an uncharted planet. And so whether it's Kirk and Chekhov or Spock and Bones or Sulu and Uhura, we are presented with different character interactions and dynamics than we are generally used to witnessing. The most effective of these team-ups is by far the combination of Spock, Zachary Quinto, and Bones, Carl Urban. And the main source of the humour from the film comes from their character interactions throughout said film. The humour in general throughout the film could be described as a bit dry and even hit and miss, some could say. But like I said just previously, that when they do get it right, my word, do they get it right, it's very funny. A certain piece of Vulcan jewellery certainly springs to mind. Those will know. um, Also, in quick reference to what I said before regarding the action set pieces early being although a bit busy, there are by far two moments that you do go hell yeah when you witness them, and well, I did anyway. One being a jump start spaceship drop. Yeah, I'll leave it there. And a Beastie Boys inspired destruction of the enemy in the final act. That was just ridiculously enjoyable and well done. A couple of like I say, there was also a sort of kind of end sequence regarding gravity, and I wasn't quite a big of a fan of that sort of set piece. I thought there'd been better stuff done in the film. The music score is actually rather underplayed throughout the film, having certainly felt its effects much greater in the previous instalments, the Abrams directed ones. So when it does spring to life, you go, I do wish this was in play more, because it is a superb score for Michael Giacchino. Is it Giacchino? Giacchino. And yeah, it should have really and could have been used a lot more effectively. So there we go. So really, one of the categories by far, it does deserve a 10-star rating if we're going for like a 10 out of 10. And that is the truly phenomenal. I mean, it is phenomenal makeup in principally of Idris Elba's Big Bad Krall, who himself is on good bad guy form. But in general, all the alien races and species that you are witnessing that appear on screen. I do love this use of practical effects, and it certainly lends such a vividness to the film that it's not utilised enough elsewhere in the industry. So in the spirit of a Siskel and Ebert review on this aspect, I will give that aspect of the film 2 thumbs up. Not everything does work, it is very fair to say. And there are certain passages throughout the film, and certain passages of dialogue, and certainly elements of the story structure that I do feel did feel and make the film feel slightly disjointed, and certainly not as smooth as its predecessors has produced. Now, when I say smooth, Marvel know this, and for all Marvel's faults, they know how to put on a show, and they know the dynamics on what story structure it needs to be in play. Whether you like the elements in play, they know the structure. And that structure was kind of in play with the previous installments in the Abrams directed ones as well. And here, it isn't quite as smooth. Like I said, but it's going for something different anyway, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, the film does give the impression of being a more personal and character interactive experience, but not all these interactions actually are successful and fully successful. But this is really hard to achieve given the number of characters in play. However, I do appreciate the effort to break out from the usual typical exchanges we've become accustomed to seeing regarding particular dynamics. Like I say, so they've mixed it up a bit. Not all of it works, but it's an interesting idea, and the structure is certainly different from what you usually would see. But overall, I would say, however, in light of what I would certainly regard this year as being it's been a rather critically tame year, hasn't it, for spectacle blockbuster films, and I do feel Star Trek Beyond more than compensates for its faults, with more than enough wit, and without a doubt, enough insider love for its genre and therefore existing fan base. Is that efficient enough for you? It is by no means perfect, and I have a personal preference to the previous 2 films, but it's not going for that feel. It's going for something different, and I do appreciate that, like I say, and I did enjoy my time watching it, and there's certain things, the humorous and just physical aspects, like the makeup aspects, certain performances as well. From all the cast, from Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Carl Urban, Zoe Saldana, the late Anton Yelchin, of course. It's a shame we didn't get more screen time, isn't it, in light of recent events. John Chow, of course, and of course Idris Elba. It's really good performances, and it's a rollicking good ride. It is, this old Star Trek Beyond. So there is life beyond Abrams. Whether it's to your taste is completely up to you, and what your taste is in those sort of films. but I think it was a very, very enjoyable film. And I certainly do recommend it, regardless of whether you like the wrong films previously, but you should definitely seek it out just to experience this different feel of a film. So there we go, Star Trek Beyond was my theatrically released film of the week. Now my classic sci-fi film of the week, and obviously it makes it a sci-fi special, is a film that completely, well I say completely divides opinion. Some people really do hate this film. Certain critics really do hate it, but then other people, there's people like me, who are not a professional critic by any means of the question, but somebody who just love the science fiction genre, and it's a film that stands out head and shoulders above each other for being so unique in the industry. The film is 1997's The Fifth Element, directed by French director, and it's a French production. It's a completely French production. At the time, it was the most expensive movie shot in France, and was the most successful movie ever shot in France until about 5 years ago when another film surpassed it. I think it was the Intouchables. I think it was. But this is a film that focuses effectively upon. Wow, where do you begin with this film? It focuses on, we start off in the past where there's a pyramid and some aliens land, and it seems to be some sort of order of priests that have, not coerced, but always been in contact with these aliens. And it's about them keeping some stones on Earth, effectively, that at some point will, some 4 elements and an unknown 5th element, keeping them on Earth to protect the universe, or in particular Earth as well. From some unknown dark force. Those elements are took away because you perceive that they're not safe on Earth anymore, and then we cut to about a couple thousand years into the future. Not 1,000 years. It's like sort of soon as it cuts to the future, where we meet Bruce Willis's former military man who now taxi driver. Bumming it out. Now it's really hard for me to describe plot elements of this film because it's going to make absolutely no sense, and that's the point of the film, is to have such an absurd sense of fun. You've got to go first of all to the effects, and there's just a look and feel to the film that is just so unique. It is certainly so European in certain aspects of that description as well. The costumes are fascinating. They're actually made by Jean-Paul Gaultier, obviously the famous French fashion designer. And like I say, every single person is, every time somebody's on screen, or a different set, or a different scene is portrayed to you, you are never bored, because there's either something from a just purely actor in a situation of weirdness, or Bruce Willis is playing this so straight, and it's such a weird film to play it straight in, but that in part the charm of his performance and kind of counterbalances sort of other things that are going on in the film. Because you sort of relate to him in that sense. Ian Holm plays a priest who's quite entertaining. Milla Jovovich is this mystery fifth element, and it was a breakout role for Milla Jovovich, wasn't it? And it's understandably why, because particularly when she's speaking that alien language. Now, I've not read into exactly what she was speaking, whether it was a made-up language or whether it was some sort of language that already exists, but it is thoroughly convincing in the way that it spoke, so you get a sense of otherworldliness to it, and that is by far what you want from a science fiction film, isn't it? Who else is in this film? We have Gary Oldman playing a bad guy in only the way Gary Oldman can play them. All the snarling, Southern American sort of, say Southern American charm, Southern American menace. He puts on one hell of an accent, I'd say that, and he's got such a, like I said before, he's got such a unique look as well as a physical villain, and he's great. The film is just so funny though as well, but it is all about whether you go with it or not, and I did, and I always have, and it's always been a big favourite of mine. It's interesting as well because in a sense we have a few sort of things going on in this film that were not quite the norm at that probably sort of time as well. So we've got a black president of the world in is it Tommy Lister Jr. and in fact we have a heroine again being the saviour of mankind. Okay, yeah, Bruce Willis does have to save her a couple of times, but she is the heroine and she kicks ass. Do you know what I mean? So there's certain elements that are progressive, certainly in the film there. So certainly interesting. And what else can I say? Practical effects again. Whether it be the giant robots at the beginning, the robot aliens at the beginning of the film, be it some sort of like weird elephant helper like Gary Oldman has. Yeah, it's so humorous. Whether it be parasites sticking onto a plane, furry parasites, or whether it's like the actual disgusting. Well, I say disgusting. It's all about disgusting alien race that is a warrior alien race with proper. Now, to say they were rubbery mass would be disrespectful because you get a feel for that sort of horrible. I'm describing this really badly. I've forgotten the name of it, but you get some very funny moments with this race of warrior creatures. I wish I remember their name now. Yeah. So there's lots of things going on. Chris Tucker, my word. Chris Tucker turns up at one point, effectively, because in one of the plot elements, effectively they've got to save the world. Bruce Willis helps Milla Jovovich save the world, effectively. That is the plot of the film. From this dark force that's approaching Earth. That Gary Oldman seems to be controlled by, it would seem, or influenced by. Of course, sorry, I've just lost my thread. The music is certainly of interest as well, because it's not your usual music score from Eric Serra, I think it is. And oh yeah, sorry, there's a bit where they have to go to a planet to meet a individual who they won't need to meet for the plot purposes in this hotel on another planet. And they meet Chris Tucker, who's a radio DJ, and Bruce Willis's interactions with Chris Tucker are just fabulous. I mean, people really do hate Chris Tucker's performance in this film, and it's, to be honest, I can completely understand why. He's just screaming, absolutely in your face, obnoxious. It's an obnoxious performance, but it fits with the film in certain aspects. So I do like it. I can understand why people get annoyed by it. It's one of those ones I go, yeah, fair enough. But I did, and still do really enjoy it. The Fifth Element, for me, is just an anomaly of a film. There's nothing quite like it since, and there probably never will be again. Because of those really different combinations of filmmaking and individuals involved. And I use this phrase I used before, it's a rollicking good ride. It's just a fun blockbuster. You've not quite like say anything like it before, and you're not going to see anything probably like it again. I just said that twice now, so I'll probably stop my review because I'm just repeating myself endlessly. I thank you very much for watching. It's been a while since I have done a video, so I do apologise if I appear a bit rusty, particularly in rushing things maybe as well, and not being quite as fluent as I should be. Fluent. I'm saying fluent in English, but I need to be more fluid in my speaking. Yeah, that's a bit better, wasn't it? But yeah. Thank you for watching if you have. I will be trying to do them. I'll probably be doing them monthly more than weekly now, it would appear. And I will be making more specials than just individual but random films and random classic films. So probably specials every month from now on at the beginning or the end of every month. There we go. So I thank you very much for watching. And I do hope to see and speak to you again very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.